Let me go to this Mike Gerson piece. Gerson, a former speechwriter for George W. Bush, now ranking member of the Republican establishment, and he has a piece. And his column, here's the actual title, I think. Trump's nomination would rip the heart out of the Republican Party. Every Republican of the type concerned with winning in November has been asking the question, at least internally, what if the worst happens? Cruz's nomination would represent the victory of the hard right. This is Gerson writing now. Cruz's nomination represent the victory of the hard right, religious right, and Tea Party factions within the Republican coalition. After he loses, the ideological struggles within the GOP would go on. No, the worst outcome for the party would be the nomination of Trump. It is impossible to predict where the political contest between Trump and Hillary Clinton would end up. No, it isn't. It's not hard to predict that. You know, there's a theme coming out of the Republican Party. There's a theme coming out of the Republican establishment. There's a theme that comes out of Republican consultants. There is a theme that's all over the drive-by media. It's conventional wisdom. And you know me, I am not in sync with conventional wisdom. In fact, when I spot it, I run the other way. And it is this. We cannot win if Trump is the nominee. Hillary will wipe the floor with Cruz or Trump. Hispanics, blacks, women will never vote Republican, especially if it's Cruz or Trump. If we nominate Cruz, Trump, or Rubio, maybe less Rubio, the GOP will be dead for the conceivable future. This is the running conventional wisdom coming out of the Republican leadership. And it's all predicated on the fact that any of these things happening, Cruz winning a nomination, Trump winning a nomination, will destroy the Republican Party for a generation or two. From the Republican Party, we never hear what is actually happening in this Republican primary debate. These Republican candidates, whether you like them or not, and to one degree or another, are offering new ideas. Some of them are offering new plans on how to do things that will help all people. They're offering plans to resurrect and breathe new life into the United States of America. And why the Republican Party cannot zero in on this, it's as though they've become incapable of being positive. It's as though there is a pessimistic fatalism, which may be redundancy, that has overtaken all of them. And I think it's rooted in the fact, you know, it's tough. It's tough when the establishment and the elites realize that they do not run the show anymore. Or at least when they realize that it isn't automatic. And I think the elites in both parties have something in common, and that is that they're not accustomed to opposition. That is actually more true of Democrats than Republicans, because the Democrats rarely face critical press, destructive press. The Republicans deal with it a lot. But when you get to the elite levels of the establishment, which contains obviously members of both parties, there is I think, a jaded existence. And when anything comes along that would appear to upset the apple cart and then they are unable to stop it or deal with it, that's when they start caterwauling. That's when they start squealing about how all these serfs, nerfs, and outsiders and nimrods are going to upset the apple cart by getting involved in things they don't understand, i.e. running the country or what have you. Now, back to Gerson's piece here. The worst outcome for the party would be the nomination of Trump. It is impossible to predict where the political contest between Trump and Hillary would end up. Clinton has manifestly poor political skills. Trump possesses a serious talent for the low blow. But Trump's nomination would not be the temporary victory of one of the Republicans' ideological factions. It would involve the replacement of the humane ideal at the center of the GOP and its history. If Trump were the nominee, the GOP would cease to be. And he says that the Trump nomination would essentially make the Republican Party an enterprise of squalid prejudice. And then he goes on to admit that he doesn't know how Trump would do against Hillary because of her poor political skills and Trump being the master of the low blow. So he has no idea. There's a new Fox poll out, and this poll shows that has the numbers which we know by heart now. Trump 35, Cruz 20, Rubio 13, Trump 39, Cruz 24. It's all over the ballpark, but the order is the same. The percentage is pretty much the same. But then you get to the general election in this Fox poll, the head-to-head matchups. Rubio beats Hillary 50-41 in this poll. Cruz beats Hillary 50-43. And Trump beats Hillary by 3 points. In other words, the top three Republicans in this latest Fox poll all beat Hillary. But inside the Republican establishment, I guess they haven't seen the poll, or if they have, they don't believe it. Because they love running around talking about how Trump's a nominee, that Hillary wins in the biggest landslide we've ever seen. Hillary mops the floor. Same thing with Cruz. If it's Cruz or Trump, oh my God, Hillary's going to win so big. Oh my God, the Republican Party is going to cease to exist. I think Gerson misses something that's so obvious. The Republican Party is already in big trouble, long before Trump even came along. Trump coming along and having the success he is having is the evidence of the problems which exist in the Republican Party, not the beginning of it. Trump isn't the cause. Trump is the beneficiary. And a lot of it's aimed at the Republican establishment. And these guys can sit there and twiddle their hands, rub their hands in consternation and fear over Trump destroying the Republican Party. It ignores what they themselves have done. And I think Art Laffer is more right than Gerson here. Trump, Cruz, I think any number of these people could beat Hillary. And I say this from the standpoint that I've always occupied. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed with Hillary. I'm not dazzled. I have never been of the opinion she's unbeatable. I've never been paralyzed over the prospect. I've never been afraid of it. In fact, I think she's more beatable today than ever. I think she and Bill Clinton can be sitting ducks at the hands of the right campaign. Anyway, that's I think the interesting illustration here with the Republican Party is that everything to them is doom and gloom in the middle of this primary when you have an imminently winnable election. But what it goes to show is that when you get down to it, the Republican establishment is more interested in themselves preserving their power than the party winning. Because it's clearly possible for the party to win in ways the establishment wouldn't like, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's not new either. They had the same attitude about Reagan back in 1976 and 1980.